supposed to tell me Wednesday that we were on opening 10. So if you were not here in class on Thursday, and I know Karina came in really late, so she didn't do it either. I took up openings through Wednesday, which was the 12th. Okay? Not Thursday's opening. Thursday's opening was number 1. So today is opening number 2. Okay? So, people who were absent Thursday, you have a 0 in your opening spot because I took up openings through Wednesday. So if you have openings 1 through 10, which was through Wednesday, turn those in. Thursday's opening was number 1. Today's opening is number 2. If you were absent Thursday and you want the opening, you can either get it via video or they're always in the notebook. Okay? If you look where it says chemistry, you can find today's date. Today's is already in there. This would be here. Look back 1. There's Friday's opening. Grand total of 1 question. Or Thursday's opening. The grand total of 1 question. I'm just making a stack on my desk. All right? Many of you who turned in openings on Thursday who were here did not get 100s because you had openings that were missing. Doesn't matter to me, but opening should be what kind of grade? It should be 100. Okay? And a lot of us didn't have 100s. Denasia, did you realize you turned in a whole bunch of notes with yours and not openings? Okay. If you want to look back to your notebook and see if you have openings and fix yours, I will regrade yours because I think you turned in the wrong stuff. So check your notebook. And once I hand back openings, I don't take openings. So those of you who still have them and have not turned them in, I'll give you, let's say today's what? Tuesday. I'll give you until tomorrow to turn those in. So once I hand those back, though, I don't take them. What's the reason for that? Exactly. And I'll hand back quiz papers as soon as I mark the attendance. Those of you who missed the quiz on Thursday, I will be here tomorrow and today and Wednesday. I will not be here after school Thursday. So if you want to make up something this week, test corrections, we'll make today and tomorrow the last days. That would have given you 4 opportunities to do test corrections on that test. So if that's something that appealed to you on the first test, you've got today and you've got tomorrow. I said Angel is not here. That's it. Stop sticking when it gets warm. It's the humidity. All right, so while y'all are sitting there, I would like to see homework. So, if you'll pull that out for me. Are you here Thursday? Yeah. You're on Thursday? Here's Good job. Yeah. So, yes. You were not here. You didn't do it. You're absent. Absent.
I thought they were going to say all of that.
Name. All right, give me a second. Now it's supposed to be here, right? Angel's not here. Oh, and I skipped you. Were you here, not here?
I was not here.
Okay. You don't have homework, right?
I do have it.
Okay. Come back. Okay. Max, what you doing? You here? Backside. All right, so let's look at, okay. Now, does everybody have a blue oxidation sheet? Is everybody here today handed those out? Or is there anybody who's missing one of these cards? Alex doesn't have one. Lewis, were you here today handed these out? Okay, so Alex is the only one who's missing one. All right, so those of you who have not watched the video and don't know how to do any of this, y'all are behind. You need to catch up, okay? And I know that sounds harsh, but you guys are taking an honors class. And sometimes things just have to be posted that way because we're out. Now, I don't know if we're getting these 2 days back. State was under a state of emergency. If that's the way that the school system decides to do it, these days could be waived. We may never make these days up, which means we've lost 2 days that I can't get those days back to catch you up before the state exam, okay? We will not finish the curriculum before the state test, okay? You will see questions on the exam. I won't teach, okay? That's just the cold hard facts. So, given that, there are days you're going to have to watch some stuff to get us where we need to be so that you know how to answer questions on the exam. There's more in this curriculum than I can get you to by state test day. Some of you are going to have to do a little work. Now, when we go to name the first one, how did you say we would write the name of a compound? What did the notes say you to do? Name the first element. Okay? So what's the name of the first element? Sodium. So you write the words sodium. All right, that's got to be a little skinnier. All right, so sodium. Now, after that, name the second element, and if there's 2 elements, we add what ending? IDE. Now, how can you decide if there's 2 elements? What's the easiest way? Capital letters. If there's 2, then you add what kind of ending? IDE. So, if we just check out the 3 examples we have here, how many capitals are here? This one is going to have an IDE ending. How many capitals here? You're going to have an IDE ending. How many capital letters here?
3.
You're not going to have IDE. Okay? That's how you decide if it's going to have an IDE ending. It's that simple. Okay? So, when I name, some of us don't spell very well. So I told you when you looked at the chart on whatever day we were here, Wednesday, I think is the last time I talked about this because the quiz took up all the time on Thursday. Down here on the bottom, it says common spellings of binary ions. Well, I put some spellings here to help those of us who have terrible spelling, because I told you, if you mutilated the spelling, I would not take it. All right, so S is what element? Sulfur. So sulfur becomes what? Becomes sulfide. So sodium, and you change the ending to "ide." Now, step 3 is where a lot of people struggle. So in the video, I said you have to check which element. The first element. If the first element has more than one oxidation number, it has to get a Roman number. Now, look at your blue card. Okay? Find sodium on here. Na has how many numbers written beside it? Yes, ma'am. 1. There you go. It has +1 written here. How many numbers is that? There is no Roman number written beside sodium because it only has one number. Okay? We leave it sodium sulfide. Now, the flip side of that is something like nickel. All right? Ni's name is nickel. What's O? Oxygen. So we make it oxide. Okay? And if you don't know how to spell it again, I told you, spellings are here. After you do this about, 3, 4 times, you will not need to look at these spellings because you will know them. Now, look up nickel on the sheet. How many oxidation numbers does nickel have? You guys will have to do this for every element for a while. Okay? Nickel has how many numbers listed beside it? It's got +2, +3, and +4 written there. Now, put the sheet down. Doesn't matter what's on the sheet. Okay? Those numbers right there tell you you need a Roman number. Okay? So we know we're going to need a Roman number right here because there were how many numbers on the sheet? 3. The numbers are irrelevant. Doesn't matter what they are. Where does the Roman number come from? It comes from what's in the formula. Okay? Now, this 2 came from up here. This 3 came from there. So, what number came from the nickel? That's the number that goes right here. Okay? Because you're telling me this is the number that nickel had. That's what you're telling me in the name. Okay? So it's nickel 3 oxide. Now, the last one has how many elements in it? It has how many capital letters?
3.
So am I going to add IDE? This is the easy ones to name because you don't have to add an ending. You write the first element's name, which is what? Lead. Everything else you look up on your polyatomic ion sheet. So over here on the right-hand side, where it has all the polyatomic ion names, all you do is hunt for the name. So you look for ClO4 over here until you find ClO4's name. Okay? Only in that right-hand column. So what is ClO4's name? So you write perchlorate. We don't add an ending. We don't change anything about it. We write perchlorate. Now, last step. Look up lead. How many numbers are listed on the sheet?
2.
You got a +2 and a +4. That means we need a what? We need a Roman number. Again, numbers are irrelevant. You're looking where? In the formula. This 1 came from up there. This 2 came from where? Up there. So what number came from the lead?
2.
So we wrote Roman numeral 2 right there. So it's lead 2 perchlorate. Questions? Yes, ma'am.
Where did you find the ClO4?
You look all up and down this column right here until you find ClO4. When you look, you find ClO4 right there. So its name is perchlorate. You don't have to worry about the ion part.
So we don't use it on the side.
when it's got more than 2 capitals. Okay, see how that first one just had 2 capitals? You don't use it. The second one just had 2 capitals. You don't use it. But when you have 3 capitals, you do it. Okay? If you see parentheses, that should be a dead giveaway you're going to use. Okay? All right, we got it? All right, so tell me this. And number 2, how are you going to know where you're going to use, because I'm going to use Almaja's question. She said, how am I going to know when I need that right side, those polyatomic ions? So in question 2, how am I going to know when I need the right side? What gives it away? The IDE tells us it's what? Binary. It only has 2. Okay? And if it doesn't have IDE, it means you need what? It has more than 2, and you're going to need that right-hand side. Now, there are 2 exceptions that are going to throw you off. Okay? I want you to look down the right-hand side, and I want you to find the 2 exceptions. Hydroxide's one, and cyanide's the other. All right? There's a peroxide that can pop up. I will tell you, I don't give you peroxide. Okay? I won't give you peroxide. I think it's tricky, and I generally don't do it in a first-year class. Okay? I'm just nice that way. But cyanide and hydroxide, I will beat you up with. I'll just be honest. It's even up here day 1. Because you're going to see it all the time. But peroxide you see very rarely. So I will not give you peroxide. But cyanide and hydroxide you will see. Okay? And the reason is, it ends in what? And it's not binary. Okay? And it tricks people all the time. So, calcium nitride. It ends in IDE, so that should tell us it's what? Binary. It's only going to have how many elements? 2. So, Ca and nitride is what? It's N, because it's nitrogen. All right? You need your oxidation numbers. So, what's calcium? It's a what? It's a 2. Now, if you watch the video, nitrogen should be easy to find. But when you look up nitrogen, for those of you who didn't watch the video, it has how many numbers listed beside nitrogen. Got 3 different numbers. So how are you going to know between -3, +3, and +5 which one to pick? Somebody who watched it, tell them how to know. Alex? The second element is always negative, so you got to pick the -3. Okay? Now, when we're crisscrossing, do we need the plus and the minus? No, you just need the numbers to crisscross. So the 2 comes down, the 3 comes down, and you have Ca3 and 2. Questions?
So the second number is always negative.
The second element or the second thing in the question, whether it's an element or a polyatomic ion, is always negative. I hesitate to use the word always because there are exceptions to that. Let's use the word usually, okay, or most often. Say what? For example, in NH3, that's a -3 and a +1. Okay, that's the negative's not last there. But we're not going to talk about that right now. For right now, the positive is first, the negative is last. Okay? There are always exceptions in chemistry. It's very rare I will say always. I will point out when I say always because it's rare. All right, aluminum is Al. What's its oxidation number? Iodine is -1. So 3 comes down, 1 comes down, Al(I)3. So are we okay with the 2 that are binary? Binary tends to be the easiest. Okay? Now, lead 4. What's lead? Now, when I give you this Roman numeral of 4, what am I telling you? That's right. I'm telling you that lead has more than one number, and I want you to use the what? The 4. Okay, so lead is a 4. Hydroxide is OH. For those of you who didn't do the backside because you were struggling with the polyatomic ions, this is a polyatomic ion. You find it on the right-hand side of this sheet. So hydroxide is OH, and it has a -1. I'm just going to write 1 because the negative is irrelevant. All right? This was the new step I told you on the video. All you have to do is put parentheses around the polyatomic ion. Now it works just like the binaries. What do you do with the 4 and the 1? Crisscross. Just go across the parentheses. So the 4 goes across over here. The 1 goes across over here. The thing inside the parentheses is sacred. You can't touch it. So PB has what number on it? Am I going to write the 1? No. And I said in the video, most likely, that if you write it, I won't take off. Although we're going to work towards not writing that 1. Parentheses, what's outside the parentheses? 4. Now, the only time you can leave the parentheses off is when what number is outside the parentheses? A 1. You can leave the parentheses off if the number outside is a 1. All right? The last one, calcium chloride. Calcium is a what? Ca? What's the oxidation number? Okay. What's chlorite? ClO2? I know these people, but I'm not going to tell you what they are until you get faster at it and can tell me much easier. Eventually, I'll just write them up here. All right. Chlorite is ClO2. What's its oxidation number? -1. All right. Parentheses around the polyatomic ion. Notice I left the 1 outside. Why did I leave the 1 outside? The oxidation number, and I need to do what with it? I got to crisscross it, but that ClO2 is the ion. So I need to leave it in there because it's sacred. I'm only crisscrossing the 2 and the 1. All right? So the 2 is coming over here. The 1's coming over there. So I get Ca, ClO2 with a 2. Questions?
Is there any way to like tell that the last 2 are not binary, or is it just memory?
This one, because it ends in ITE, will tell you it's not binary. This one you have to know is an exception. But there's only 2 of those, hydroxide and cyanide. The other ones, they will pop out at you because they end in ate or ite. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the video said like
Oh, yeah.
does that work too for poly?
Yes, it does. So let's say you had one that had like PB2SO4 with a 4 there, like that. What would you do to that 2 and that 4? Yes. So you would have PBSO4 with a 2. Now, this is the only thing I will give partial credit on. If you forget to reduce, I will give you half. So on the test, it's a 2-point question. I would just take off -1. If it was a quiz and it's a 10-point question, I'd give you half. I'd give you 5. Yeah, I know it sounds like a lot, but oh, and by the way, have you learned the acids? We have a quiz tomorrow. Got 4 of them to know. We've had a 4-day break. I've updated the website. I've uploaded my lesson plans for the school. I graded all my papers, updated Power School. I've done my part, people. I didn't take a 4-day holiday. Yes, ma'am.
But I just have a question about the parentheses.
Yeah.
If it's a 1 on the outside, can we still leave the parentheses?
Sure. I will not take off for that. A lot of people will, but I won't. So if you had like sodium and you had sulfate, so you had +1, and you had a -2 here, and you crisscross, you bring your 2 down and your 1 down. A lot of people will still leave their parentheses when they have 1 here and they take the 1 off. I have no problems with that, okay? Because it's 1 outside, you can choose to leave them off, which I will do frequently. Both answers are the same, and it's fine. When I call them out, a lot of times I'll say it either way, so it's fine. Now, the flip side of that is a lot of people, when they write something like this, they tend to do this. Is this and this the same thing? No, because when we flip this to math later in the week, how many O's are here? Well, you know from math class, these parentheses mean what? Multiply and what? Distribute. So that 4 goes there and it goes there. So there are 4 O's and 4 H's, which will be huge when we calculate a mass. But this 4 only goes to who? This is not the same thing as that, okay? So if the number outside the parentheses is a what? A 1. If it's a 1, you can drop them. If it's not a 1, can you drop them? No, and that's the key. And a lot of people drop parentheses on something like this, and they do that, and that is a completely wrong answer. So if this, let's just say this is the quiz tomorrow, and you have an answer that's this, and you do that, is it a partial credit answer? No, it's a -10. It's a wrong answer. You cannot drop the parentheses. So my response to Sailor is, if you're in doubt, do what? Leave the parentheses. Okay? Questions? Before we talk homework? What? It's only on naming. Writing formulas and naming. It's only on just plain old ionic. We're not doing covalent today. I'm not throwing that in.
Number 3, the hydroxide. If
Yeah.
we, since that's a polyatomic, if we do it as a binary, would you think wrong?
Oh, yes, I would mark it wrong because I've told you those are the 2 exceptions. We're going to do more practice today. I'm not casting you out with a quiz tomorrow without more practice. I'm not that vicious. All right, can we talk about homework and see what kind of mistakes we made and what we need to work on with that? Okay. All right, let me see here. Get back in there. There mine is, just so I don't have to stare over somebody's shoulder here. Does it have sodium fluoride is the first one? Only 19 questions on the page. All right, I got the right one. I have 8 zillion of these things. All right, question 1. Should be NaF. Number 2, MgCl2. Number 3, Al2S3. Number 4, NiF2. Number 5, Cr3N2. 6, Cu2O. 7, Zni2. 8, Cabr2. 9, sorry, I'm reading the question. Copper 2 chloride. By 2, I meant Roman numeral. 10, magnesium bromide. No Roman numeral there. It's wrong. Okay? You cannot put them in when they're not needed. Number 11, calcium oxide. 12 needs a Roman numeral, so that one will be iron 3 oxide. 13, manganese 7 oxide. 14, silver fluoride. 15, potassium iodide. 16, aluminum nitride. 17, tin 2 chloride. 18, barium sulfide. And 19 is lead 2 iodide. Now, what questions do we have on this side before we talk about the back side? Where to put a Roman numeral, not to put a Roman numeral, anything we did wrong? Yes, ma'am.
So you like for number 10 or like magnesium bromide, I'll put like a Roman numeral for bromide. You're not supposed to.
No, there will never be a Roman numeral on the last element. It will only apply to the first element. Okay, lots of the second elements have multiple oxidation numbers, but we do not care about that second element. We are only interested in the first element. Okay? Anybody else? The front side usually goes really well. It's usually the back side we tend to run off the rails. All right. On the back. All right, at the top. You can either write AgNO3 or Ag parentheses NO3 close the parentheses. Either one is acceptable. Number 2, same thing. Na2 parentheses SO4 close the parentheses, or you can leave them off and just write Na2SO4. Either one is fine. Number 3, Fe parentheses ClO2 close the parentheses 3. Number 4, Pb parentheses ClO4 close the parentheses 4. 5, Zn3 parentheses PO4 close the parentheses 2. 6, you just had to look up on the chart, which was H2SO3. 7 is another one like the top two. NaClO3 or Na parentheses ClO3 close the parentheses. 8, Al2 parentheses SO4 close the parentheses 3. 9, Mg parentheses NO2 close the parentheses 2. Questions on any of those? Anybody who didn't know how to do the backside and only did the front have a question? Anybody? Y'all are going to have to work with these in a minute on the lab. Questions? Don't get excited. It's only paper, glue, and scissors. Yes, ma'am. It's okay. Ask. As long as you're not going to ask me what time we get out of class, it's fine. Mm-hmm. Nah, that was just a cheesy one. Look it up. Yeah. No, you just look it up.
If like when I write the formula, you know how you bring the numbers down. If I don't show my lines, bring the number down.
No. These have no partial credit. So some people prefer to do it in their heads. Some people prefer to show the work and then rewrite the answer. I don't care. Okay, as long as you have the answer written. It does not matter to me if you're one of the people who shows the work and then writes the answer, or if you just do it all in your head. Okay? Anybody else? So nobody needs to see any of 1 through 9. 9 is Mg, parentheses, NO2, close the parentheses, 2.
What was number 3?
Fe, parentheses, ClO2, close the parentheses, 2.
Was 2?
Oh, sorry, 3. I couldn't read my handwriting. Some of it's pretty bad. That's why I don't usually show people the writings. All right, 10. Lead 4 nitrate. 11 zinc chlorate. 12 aluminum chromate. 13 sodium phosphate. 14 is iron 3 sulfate. 15 is calcium iodate. 16 is nickel 3 carbonate. 17 is potassium phosphite. 18 is sodium perchlorate. 19 is potassium permanganate. And 20 is lithium hydroxide. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so are you going to count off?
Wrong. Which was which one?
15.
Calcium iodate. Questions about when you need a Roman numeral and when you don't.
You have 17.
Yeah. All right. So 17 has K3PO3. All right. So K has what name? Because you named the first element. For those of you who didn't watch the video, you named the first element. So potassium. everything after the first element you look up together. Okay? So after you name that first element, everything after the first element has to be a polyatomic ion. So you're looking on the right-hand side here, and you're looking for PO3 over here in this column, trying to find its name all together, PO3. So when you scan that column for PO3, it looks like it's about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way down. What's the name of it? So you write the name phosphite. You don't change the ending. You just write the word phosphite. Do you write the word ion at the end? No, it's an ion on that sheet. Once it moves up here, it's not an ion anymore. It's potassium phosphite. Now, the last step is you look up this. All right? How many numbers are written down on the sheet? How many numbers does K have? It only has one number. If it only has one number written, does it get a Roman number? No. Okay? So there's no Roman number written if there's only one. The only time it gets a Roman number is if it has how many? 2 or more. It's got to have at least 2 because then you got to tell me, okay, which one it has in that formula. Okay? Sort of like Devontae. How many names does he have? He had to tell me which one he wanted to be called. And until he did, I was calling him which one? The first one. Okay? So if you have more than one oxidation number, you got to tell me which one goes in the name. Okay? But if you only have one name, then I don't have to worry about it. Does that make sense? Anybody else? Question on any of them? No? All right. I need 2 people to hand out some papers.
I have a question.
Yes, my dear. Sure.
What was the other 2 acids we're supposed to remember?
There are 4 of them. They're the bottom 4.
The bottom 4.
The bottom 4. Sulfuric, phosphoric, hydrochloric, and nitric.
So when you asked earlier, when to use the oxidation number and when not to, so you don't use it, you just explained it, so the only one is 1.
When there's only one, you do not put a Roman number in the name. Okay? But when there's more than one, you need a Roman number in the name. Okay? Yes. How's the oxidation number? Yeah. That was the oxidation. So when you looked at it like this, that was the oxidation meeting. Here on the chart. So we look at phosphite had a -3. That -3 crisscrossed into the formula. So we wrote the name. Okay. -3 there. And I had a +1. That 3 came there, and that 1 was outside. Does that make sense? It's B-Day. They made the announcement a while ago. Did you hear this? Points for ratification. It's B-Day. It's B-Day. I wouldn't have known if she was making it. Let me grab the. Hey, Chris, over there on the shelf is glue and scissors. Set the glue and scissors on the back table.
Get water. So
Alright, let's talk about what you're going to do. The directions are on the paper, but half of y'all won't read them, so let's talk about them. Alright, now, those of you who sit and chit-chat are not going to finish. You have to, first of all, in the middle of that paper, it's really towards the top, there are 10 compounds you have to make, okay? It says aluminum and bromine, I think it's the first one, isn't it? Alright, I'm going to do an example that's at the bottom. This is how you're going to do it, okay? At the bottom it says magnesium and chlorine as an example. So you're going to cut out piece. It says magnesium as an example, only you're doing aluminum. This is just an example. And you're going to cut out one, let's just say it's chlorine. Now, the concept behind crisscrossing, this is how it works. Okay? My daughter's chemistry teacher last year wouldn't even let them crisscross. She said it was cheating. I never understood that. Still don't. I believe in working smart, not hard. So, when you add oxidation numbers together, they have to equal 0. Do these oxidation numbers equal 0? So, you got to add something else to make it equal 0. Now, if we add another magnesium, does that equal 0? Nope, because that's going to be +4, -1. Nope, that's not going to equal 0. If I add another chlorine, will that equal 0?
Yes.
Got it. Now, some chemistry teachers make you do that to make it equal 0. Now, once you do that, how many magnesiums do you have? How many chlorines do you have?
2.
There's your formula. Okay? Mg1Cl2. Now, you get the same thing when you say the oxidation number for magnesium is what? What's the oxidation number?
2.
What's chlorine's oxidation number?
Okay, thank God, because I thought we would do something totally different. I was like, gosh.
Now, crisscrossing is the shortcut method for adding up to total 0. Okay? This is how you get 0. That's how the shortcut method works. I teach the shortcut method because it's faster. Okay? Some teachers, it's going to buzz and blow up. All right? Some teachers teach it this way and make you add up all the oxidation numbers every time to total 0 to get the number of elements each time. Now, today, I want you on your piece of paper, 1, to figure out the elements to equal 0. You got to do that with all 10. Number 2, you got to write the formula. Now, you can choose how. You can crisscross. I'll restart it in a minute. All right? You can write the formula. You can crisscross. You can add up the way I just did. I don't care. And you got to write the name. Okay? Now, everybody's doing their own. You can work at the counters. Please don't get glue all over the counters. If you're a messy gluer, take a piece of white paper with you. So when you cut out the little squares and you drag the glue across the squares, you have a piece of paper to drag the glue across so that I don't have to clean glue off the counter the rest of the afternoon. Okay? My OCD can't work with all that sticky glue. Yes, ma'am. So for MgCl2, what did I just say we were going to do with the oxidation numbers? Mg has what oxidation number? +2. Chlorine had a what? So the 2 is going to come down. The 1's going to come down, and you're going to have MgCl2. So that would be the formula. All right, how do I write the name? Magnesium. All right, why do we put an IDE on the end? It's binary. There's only 2 capitals. Okay, because there's only 2 capitals, I gave it IDE. And doesn't need a Roman number. How do I decide? All right, so check your cards. How many numbers are written beside magnesium?
1.
There's only 1, so no Roman number. There are a couple on the sheet that are going to require Roman numbers. Okay, out of the 10, I don't know, there's probably 2 or 3. Any questions? Now, you can turn the sheet long ways or sideways. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, any questions?
So where does the glue come?
You see all those little pieces of paper?
Yeah.
You got to cut them out.
Do we glue on the back of this? Oh, okay. I didn't even sorry.
There's construction paper at the back. Now, just as a challenge, there are not enough little squares. You're going to run out. So you got to draw some at the end. You just got to draw squares and write the elements in the center. Pretend. Draw circles and write them in the center.
What is this, stock system?
This is all stock. I've not taught any old system. Okay? Everything is stock. Roman numeral system is called stock system. Not taught anything in old system yet. And I won't until sometime tomorrow.
So where do we write all the answers? Do we just get them in paper?
No, write it on the construction paper. Glue it down, write name and formula. Glue down the next one, name and formula. Glue down another one, name and formula. No more than 4 people at a counter. Go for it. If there's not enough paper, let me know. I did get some orange out if we run out. Yes. How long did you ask the question today?
Wait, I got nothing. I got this.
Right. Well, we're not
Oh my God. Yeah, I was gonna do it last month. You don't even know your no way, that'd be funny. And she's so serious. She told me what song she wanted to sing. I was like, she wanted
Are you okay?
yeah.
You know what?
No. No,
Remember that 190 overall? Oh.
Oh, you sound just like him. When you said it, I did. He said, don't tell them that. Don't tell them that.
You're one. You're
He's like, stop, but he's saying yeah, that's
Where's Al?
so pretty down.
it's like, I can't find
Take the meeting. Stop. Wrong flashing red.
It was so mad for I thought we was going to lump out.
I'm calling him. I'm calling him. 6. Yeah, low. He said my next one. Still slow. He got low stamina too. That's what I'm trying to pick the center, bro. He said
So like when we're trying to find the little squares, once you write the formula, the number of I didn't know first for that one, since there was a 1 next to NG, there was a 2 next to chlorine, and 1
work.
That's right. I don't even know this one.
I got none of them.
Oh, I need to.
I got no battery but one. That's the only time it makes no shot.
Yeah, just point, okay.
I took them like 30.
Right, yeah.
We talked about this yesterday.
Come on.
But he told me to get
I've been up since 6.
I woke up an hour before my alarm because that.
It doesn't matter though, tomorrow's gonna be a good day. That's what you're saying.
push me all the way to the other court. No, but he threw me from like he threw me. I was on the floor like trying to
Do we have to do it in that order?
He is so.
What, when he smacked you, the same order on the board?
Yeah. Because it has to be in short orders, and just as long as we have.
One time, let's work. He's talking. Don't say you didn't have to get rid of my face. And he got the ball.
Someone got mad at me when I said.
He said, no.
We were at a stoplight, there was a fire truck behind us. And we stopped and
All them guys were like he changed the How was he making more sense?
So they say family.
Oh, next.
I don't know. Trying to, bro. I said the screen. Or something happened.
I can't. Why don't you come up on me? Got it. Yes, it is. It is interesting. I need yeah. Remember, you can go get a drop.
How was Bill?
So like the first one?
Oh, first.
Yeah.
Where?
Oh. You was too. Bro,
I'm one of the girls
You
all black.
too much.
Really? Those old ladies and everything?
No, I mean,
Honestly, I had it all for.
First of all, I didn't like start it.
It's all late for work.
I was just ready to spell out how you guard.
I know someone that's like. If I did, I would do tacos. Not Detroit, not They're gone. No one was just up to say.
Just, hey, Matt, get the mouse on the board so we can see again.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we were.
Can you see that?
I'll make one shot.
System was good. She put all this stuff together, all these findings and stuff. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's closer to our house than it's cheap.
It's only 9:20.
Not in the jacket.
I've been there once.
No, that's business.
Yeah. Yes.
Your hands are loud stuff.
There's mostly like clear out your digestive system, like natural.
No.
What is she gonna get?
But she needs to put it on. I bought it.
Or, yeah.
I will have it.
How much you want to put money into? Just to make it. Watch this guy do this.
You cook down.
It's just that size here.
That's good.
The only thing you think is they put inside water.
No worries.
That's not doing my
I don't even have a minute. Whenever y'all eat, I get it. Yeah, that's like, y'all have my every single year. You get mad.
I broke the game, bro.
We went to school. No, the town was. No, we was, okay.
He's already in the group.
Right. I don't know what it
Yeah, that's good.
Was it like
Dead
Good.
They're good. I got this. I don't know, but then she called, Brooke called down and
And then they have these little cappuccinos.
that's what everybody was saying. Wait, but some swear like because I raised
There's this place where you're looking for it's little bit and you like it's so cheap and like
oh yeah, it's your brother? Now that you say something, what is it?
it's not.
Memory does first.
It's not even about
Why?
That's what kids do. Like,
It's a lot.
Why?
it's crazy.
You can, but you always do something.
Oh, I was thinking to it. I was like, look, no, I didn't see it. I heard boom. I was like,
I'm surprised I did that.
that's what you were saying. Well, you were so mad. Oh my god. I was at work.
So what do we do about the?
You know what? Sunday, I never go. First time I was definitely 13 and left at 9:30. What do you want? I'm about to listen. But anyway, work. Yes. So I was down there and I was in the social. So I was like, oh, I'm ready to go. I was mad. And like I had a video. I was like, oh, I was like, oh, really? I said to her like she could laugh with me. And I found myself saying, That's not understand how hard I was ready. I'm gonna get a little I didn't go right. I didn't go the right order. I mean, this whole week. I ain't nothing that we could have been in school. I had college. This was last double. Me, because I already told you, I wrote it down on a piece of paper in my head.
Ah, why?
Okay.
Keep passing.
Used to. They don't even have to take a blanket is a blanket.
Oh, yeah.
And that was black.
You have to write the formula of the name.
I know, but I don't think so. They do. Janet, go see you. He told me this. She tried to deny it. Like, it's already out there. Can this be something? Yeah, I was gonna start watching it, but I'm so far behind.
He's writing
You guys keep an eye on the clock. You only get about 15 minutes to finish it up tomorrow. Because this activity should only take about an hour, and you got 45 minutes today. So if you're not going to be able to finish it in 15 minutes tomorrow, you might need to think about lunch or after school today to get a little more time in.
Wait, so does that mean? Oh, you know what I'm doing there.
I was checking my quiz.
He said. Something about like,
Oh, yeah. Put it as that. Got so many points. The ball went all one. He's number one.
wait, they got orange.
Yeah, and she hated her.
Oh my God, no.
And you never did the thing we had to do, we had to, whenever we had to go and make the outline a certain way, I did not do that. I didn't really go into the poems that I struggled with, but she kind of said like a little bit. But it took so long. even though we had a long time to do it, it took way too long to.
I can go around.
You have another cake?
I have a cake.
How did the
No, I was just saying.
Wait.
You can eat at 3 or
No, because, you can say something. No, it's a woman. It's green and oxygen is negative too, so why you gonna be negative?
Oh, I don't know. So it's gonna make that.
Next, gonna be the thing.
What you got there? Yeah, you fill out the first.
Parentheses in the 3,
I did not know. I did not know.
You can't. Let's not play.
I mean, I didn't know.
So wait, watch your. So what if your eyes? I think this.
Can I see this?
I think phase.
That's what you start off with. You start off with the 803.
Okay, this is what I'm.
Yeah.
I'll
You might have pieces left over and you should run out of it. Bye. The one that has the money in it?
Yeah.
Probably Tom Collins first.
So with the,
No one even.
The name? And I have.
Okay, so no. Does it matter? What the squares are, those ones are acres. Do the items go first or second?
It depends. There's one positive polyatomic and the rest are negative. Are you talking about ammonium?
Yeah.
Ammonium will go first. The only positive one there is.
Right, like this. That's But I don't take this serious.
No, why did I do this?
Yeah, you still do the negative, number for the second one. You said yes. Next
I leave school every day. So I think
You have to write to you have to ask me.
Complicated. I don't have all these. No. I just use them to.
Yeah, they stole it. We should have put it.
What? Okay, I'll see it.
But one day.
And I like.
It's like, no. You're gonna be walking up there, you're gonna be with it, be so vibrant, so.
Look up those salty kamikazes. Have those salty kamikazes? I know, but if you don't have those salty kamikazes, then it's not salt five, it's salt thing. Come on. Your extra ions you don't need, guys. You can throw those away. All right, we have about 5 minutes. So if you have loose ions you've laid on your paper, make sure they're glued down. Okay? Don't leave anything loose that is not glued down. If you are going to be finished, make sure it's on my desk today. You will have very limited time to finish it tomorrow. Probably less than 15 minutes. No more than. Your homework is on your desk. You're doing number 1 through 20.
Like nine.
What?
Like not even a row.
No, all of them. You're just naming it right for you. Not like you calculate math problems.